Hi, good day to the beautiful people of the Cameroons. This is Maitre Mola Alex Ndivel, the singer, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Today, I've come to distinguish between a terrorist and somebody who is participating in an armed conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, today, my party political broadcast is for academic purpose. Full stop, nothing else. Because we live in a society in the Cameroons where there is no rule of law. Anybody can come out and label people as terrorists when they don't know who is a terrorist or who is not a terrorist. I don't blame them. The reason we are living in such anarchy, entropy in the Cameroons, because there is a non-functional government and a non-functional opposition. So the Cameroons, we are living in a state of anarchy, which is like everybody for himself, God for we all. So once more, happy Good Friday for those of us who are Christians and they believe in Jesus Christ. So I'm sick of hearing people labeling people that they are terrorists, when most of those people that they call terrorists, they are in an armed conflict. A terrorist is a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidate others, especially against civilians, in pursuit of what? Political goal. So terrorism is a crime, it's a criminal offense like any other crime. The difference is that your objective is political. I'll give you one example. I'll start now. When Minister Atanga Nji comes and says, I'm going to Molinex people, that's terrorism. Why? Because a terrorist intimidates people. Mr. Atanga Nji is saying they are going to Molinex people. It's unlawful what he's saying. It's an unlawful violence, merely intimidating people because he is supporting CPT and political party. That's terrorism. So in a legal term, what Minister Atanga Nji is doing, he is a terrorist. Because why? He is using unlawful violence to intimidate people, especially civilians. If you do this, I will Molinex you. So that's terrorism. A lot of people, they label this pressure group that was created by a landed lawyer from Godi Dinka, that is terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, most of the Ambazonians, they are not terrorists. They are involved in armed conflict. And in armed conflict, we have laws and customs of armed conflict. You cannot call somebody who is involved in an armed conflict that he's a terrorist. That's why we have international humanitarian laws to protect people who are not participating in the war. That's why when there's armed conflict, a party who is part of that armed conflict, if you attack civilians, you do certain things, they call it war crime. Or atrocities, offenses against a person is a war crime. Murder and ill treatment of a person is a war crime. Killing hostages is a war crime. Torture, inhumane treatment during armed conflict is a war crime. Breach of the Geneva Convention is a war crime. Destruction of cities and villages is a war crime. Destruction of property and cultural heritage is a war crime. Torture, genocide is a war crime. When you arrest prisoner, you torture them, you put them in public places, or even corpses, it's a war crime. So you cannot call a person who is involved in armed conflict that is a terrorist. That person can only commit a war crime. A terrorist is simple somebody who use unlawful violence against a person, especially civilians, or intimidate them to pursue a political purpose. Minister Atanga Nji belong, I'm just using him as an example. There are other examples. Minister Atanga Nji belonged to what? The CPDM ruling party. When he intimidates civilians, intimidate opposition political party, if you do this, I will mollynex you. That's unlawful. It's against the laws of the Cameroons to say what he's saying. And why is he doing that? Because he's a CPD, a militant. Let me call him politician. So he's intimidating other politicians. That's terrorism. Most of the people that they are in this DDR, they come and sit on social media. They say they should kunkumize people. They have been instructed by members of the government. Some of them, they even boast that they go to the presidency, they see people like Ngongo. When they come and say they should kunkumize people, why are they doing it? Because they are supporting the ruling party. So they are intimidating people. It is unlawful to go and be saying on social media that they should kunkumize people. That is terrorism. So there is a difference between terrorism and somebody who is involved in war, in armed conflict. So all these people, you see, Ngabo was an act of terrorism. No, Ngabo was not terrorism. It was a war crime. Because these people, they have to act proportionately, and they went and killed some children in Ngabo, blah, blah, blah. That's a war crime. It's different. It's not terrorism. So when we see these civilians, individuals, that they come and threaten people, especially civilians, that's terrorism. And when you're involved in armed conflict, you can only commit war crimes, not terrorism. That is why when there's an armed conflict, you see the exchange prisoner. There are rules how to treat prisoners. I've seen, is it in Guzam, when they shot those two guys, is it at Guzam Market? I'm not sure. That's a war crime. They were not fighting. Some of you too, you go in British Cameroons, if you see a police officer who is not fighting war, he's not intimidating you, you kill that police officer. It's a war crime. Even if you meet a military person, he's not fighting war. Let me say, he's in an off license, having a drink, and you kill that military person, it's a war crime. You can only kill somebody who is fighting with you. You cannot kill somebody, even if it's your enemy, he's not having gun. You cannot just shoot him. You don't do that. Either you take him as a prisoner, you keep him, then you treat him as a war prisoner. And in war, people exchange prisoners. Ukraine, Russia, they have exchanged prisoners. America and Russia recently, they exchanged some prisoners. I don't know whether it was about what they exchanged prisoners. So stop treating people who are fighting for their political right, recognized in the Constitution of La République du Cameroun, Article 65, the right of self-determination. It is there. You cannot say somebody is a separatist. It is not against the law of the Cameroons. Mr. Atanga Nji, go and read your laws. Go and read the laws in the Cameroons. Ayolo, go and read your laws. Read your constitution. It is strange that we live in a country where we don't respect our own laws. We put people in office. They don't know what their law says. You cannot be a person fighting an armed conflict, they say you're a terrorist. You are not a terrorist. Tell them you are not a terrorist. Repeat it. You're fighting in an armed conflict. War is recognized. That's why we have rules of law, of war rather. War is recognized. Have you ever heard Putin or the president of Ukraine saying that Putin is a terrorist or vice versa? No, they are in an armed conflict. In an armed conflict, there is no terrorist. A terrorist, there is no rule for terrorism. A terrorist rather is a bully. When people come and intimidate you, that they will mollynex you. There's no law in Cameroon that says somebody should intimidate you, that they will mollynex you. It's unlawful violence, intimidation against the people. So that's terrorism. And the objective is what? Political. So, ladies and gentlemen, people must stop calling people who are fighting for their right that they are terrorists. If somebody goes about kidnapping for ransom, raping women and children, attacking civilians, those are war crimes. It is not terrorism. They are war crimes. I'm not saying war crimes are not serious. They are very, very serious. You can spend up to 100 years in prison if you commit war crime. That's not what I'm saying. So some people think when they say you're a terrorist, it's the worst crime on earth. Mandela was a terrorist. They called these people in Northern Ireland, they were terrorists. Today they are the one ruling Northern Ireland. So if people are fighting for their right, if somebody tells you that I don't want France to be controlling me, I don't want you to be imposing ENAM on us, on elected governor, I don't want you to be forcing us with ENAM, I don't want you to be forcing us with France CFA, I don't want France to be controlling our monetary policy, our interest rate. We don't want to use your money. We don't want you to be exploiting our resources. We want to use our natural resources for the betterment of our people. If you call that people that they are terrorists, then I will accept I'm a terrorist in that sense. If you say I'm a terrorist, because I'm saying national interest, we must use our resources for our people. If that's terrorism to you, then I'm a terrorist. If I come and say, we want electricity, we have enough resources and wealth to have electricity, water, good hospital, people should not be using our resources to come to hospital in Western world, you say I'm a terrorist, I will accept that one, I'm a terrorist. Because to me, it's patriotism, it's not terrorism. Because the people of the Cameroon deserve better. So ladies and gentlemen, we know who are the terrorists. When an unelected Dio come and say, use witchcraft to fight Amber, what does it mean? Because of political objective, he said that use unlawful means, witchcraft, to fight Amber. That's terrorism. When an unelected governor from La République du Cameroon comes and say, let's terrorize the terrorists, which means to terrorize somebody is unlawful in the Cameroons. So if you say, let's use unlawful means to intimidate or violence to fight terrorists, it means that unelected governor, colonial governor, is a terrorist. So that's terrorism. Terrorism simply means a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidate, especially against civilians, because of political objective. So when Atanga Nji uses intimidation, violence, unlawful violence, say I will mollynex you because of his political objective, he is a terrorist. When an unelected governor uses unlawful means by saying let's terrorize the terrorists because of his political objective, he is a terrorist. When an unelected Dio comes and say, let's use witchcraft because in the penal code of La République du Cameroun, witchcraft is unlawful. It's against the law. So if an unelected Dio comes and say, let's use Amber, witchcraft rather, to fight Amber, so he's saying, let's use an unlawful means or violence to intimidate these people because of his political objective, because we know all those unelected governors and GO are CPDM, chop people their money. So they are terrorists. I'm just clarifying the legal definition of terrorism today. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, this has been helpful. This is just for academic purpose, nothing more, nothing less. Have a happy Good Friday. Thank you. This has been Maître Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Ciao.